We're going to start our second project. Thanks for joining me for Wondercraft Session 2 with Miss Emmeline. I really enjoy teaching at Wonderland Performing Arts. It's a great organization in Lafayette, Louisiana. And today I'm going to show you how to make a flipbook. We talked about some of the supplies with a preview video, but I also brought along a couple other things to work with. First thing that you might want to find maybe in your parents' office would be a binder clip. Okay, they make them bigger and smaller than this, but I only have the small ones. The binder clip works really well to hold the edge of the flipbook. And here's an example of what we're going to be making. So I've got all the cards stacked in there. These are 5x8 index cards, and I'm working with the blank side. Okay, so have a look around and see if you can find some index cards. Okay, that one makes a nice big book. All right, if you don't have index cards, that's okay. We can use a sketchbook too. Do you have a sketchbook? So this one's much bigger, and you could take the pages of the sketchbook and turn it into a flipbook. Okay, so here's two pieces. And I'm going to measure them with a ruler. Hopefully you can get a ruler. And I want to tear these papers in half. That's just the easier way to do it. You don't have to necessarily. But this is an oddly measured out. It's 8 1/2. So I want to do 4-inch. Now this ruler has a metal side. Maybe you could find something like that too at your house. And I'm going to bend up the paper. And with this metal side, I can actually tear this paper, which will give it a torn edge. But you don't have to tear it, you can cut it. That's why last night I said if you have some scissors, to bring your scissors to this class. A couple more things about using the supplies that you have. Each style will give you a different kind of flipbook. The size of your paper will kind of show you what your size of your flipbook will end up being. This is almost the same size as the index cards, a little bit bigger. So also you want the book to have some strength, meaning the papers are kind of stacked together so that they want to push off each other and flip real fast. Okay, so I'm going to show you just a little bit more about cutting your paper or tearing your paper. There we go. And creating a flipbook, but also now is the time to start looking around your house. If you only have sketchbook paper, that's okay. If you only have recycled paper, that's okay. Look around too and see if you have any cardstock. Okay, that's a great one. You know, cardstock and sketchbook paper, they do create a nice flipbook. The size varies, so you might end up making more than one size in the end. I'm going to make a bunch of them with you. So let's look here. 3. And 6. Now, just because I want to make it as precise as possible, I'm going to cut these edges. Hopefully you've worked with scissors before. This project is open to all ages, especially if somebody, like you have an adult with you that can help you. If you're interested in this project, give it a shot, no matter if you've never done it before. It can be real fun. All right, so I'm going to cut these, but I want to give you a quick preview of some that I've already made. Now, this was with scrap paper, okay? So when we're at home right now, we might not have a bunch of our art supplies like we would in an art classroom. And even I have to go looking around my house and being like, well, I know what I want to make. What can I find that will help me make it, right? You don't want to say, oh, I can't make it because I don't have that. I can't make it because I don't have that. You want to be like, I've got this idea. How can I achieve it? Okay, that's to me what a real artist tries to develop. I've got this idea. How can I achieve it? So these are big paper clips. You could use small ones, but basically we want to create a spine because we don't want our pieces of paper to move. All right. We want to be able to touch the edges of them without them moving. So I'm sliding, I've flipped the other one over and I'm sliding it on, and look how it sits right on top of that paper clip. Okay. So this one was scrap paper. It's flimsy. I tore the edges. But the cool thing about this is that it's one piece of paper. So if you're working at home with scrap paper, you could make a lot of these and you could actually give them to your friends and family as like a little storybook or as a letter, as a note, telling them that you're thinking of them. And it's really cool because you just need some paper and a pencil or a marker if you want to do some coloring. But it's a really sweet, quick way of telling somebody you're thinking of them. So, holding the edges, I'm going to go slowly. Let's see what we can find with this. Oh, did you see it? Now, because this is flimsier, it's harder for me to flip the pages. You'll see with the cardstock or the index cards that it actually flips much faster. But once again, we're working with what we have. So here we go. Let's see it again. That was a little bit different that time, depending on what pages I got. Okay? I told a story, though, with one image. So start thinking about what image you want to put in. If you like the heart, you can use the heart. Okay? All right. Here's one with the cardstock. So I'll get back to this in a second. This is a big 8.5 by 11, I think, and it turned into a whole flipbook just with one piece of paper. So maybe you've got some cardstock at home that your parents would give you 1 or 2 pieces. All right, let's see what I did in this one. See how it's much harder paper. So I'm going to actually bend it so that it's a little bit easier to begin. Let's see if I can just go to the first page. All right, here we go. All right, so when you go at a speed, your picture goes faster, but that's when it starts to connect, okay? If I went real slow, it would be one little thing at a time, like I'm reading you a story. What's happening now? They're back. Up in the air. Okay, we would interpret it differently. But if I try to go fast, see, I've tried to stack all of the tips so that I can touch them, okay? And now here, let's see if I can go faster. Boom. Pretty fun, huh? All right. So this one's cardstock. This one's regular paper. We need love and a way to express ourselves these days. So I chose the heart. But you could also choose an animal, or you could even choose a word that would move around the page. Possibilities are endless. Okay, so hopefully by now you have gathered some supplies. This one's bigger and has more pages, so you want to think about what story you want to tell. Now I could count each page, 2, 3, 4, and say I need to divide my story up in this number of steps, okay? Or you could be a little bit more free form and say, I'm just gonna give it a shot, and if I get here to the end but one image kind of jumps where it doesn't quite connect, I can put an index card right in there in the middle and make that spot more fluid. Or I can take some out. Say I get to the end and my story's over, like right here. I could just take these out and be like, you know what? I feel finished. I feel created. I mean, I feel like I was creative, but I'm also finished. Okay? So I'm going to work on that, but I want to show you one last thing about paper folding. Okay? So say you went and got your sketchbook and you have folded the papers. So there's the rough edge, which maybe you like that look of tearing the edge. And then there's also just cutting it. Now I've got 3. You can use one paper as a line to draw from if you're pretty careful. Or you can use your ruler and measure. But basically, if you just take the paper and you half it and half it and half it and half it, you'll get something that is symmetrical, and you get a lot of pieces of paper. Okay, so that's how the page sort of shows you what your finished book size is going to be. The page itself. And you know, if you really enjoy doing this, you probably will make a bunch of them and you'll get better every single time you do it. Also, I like miniature things, so it's fun to go down to a small size like that. This one's a little bit bigger. And let's use a stapler this time, okay? Now, we talked about binding clips, paper clips, but maybe you just have a stapler, and that will work too. I'm gonna go in just a little. Whoop, I haven't used this stapler really. Oh, here we go. The stapler didn't really want to work. Hopefully yours works better than mine. Maybe I need to stand up and push it. All right, that worked better. But look, we created our own flipbook with a stapler You could even glue a piece of paper over it to hide the stapler if you don't like that. You could put a piece of fabric over it so that you don't feel these sharp spots. Just to give you some ideas, the possibilities are really endless. And then here we go. Here's our book. All right. So I could definitely tell a story with this many papers, but it's less than what we had before. Pretty cool. All right. So now's the time to think about your character, okay? What is it going to be? What are you going to tell? Do you want to use a Sharpie? Do you want to use markers? Somebody put the wrong cap on this, so this one's actually green. Is it like that at your house? Brothers and sisters putting caps on the wrong colors? And colored pencils. Now, you want to think about the character as the main subject. Mine was the heart. Okay? So, here we go. But what if I wanted to put something in the background? Okay? Take your colors. You might find it easier to pick your subject first and then put your colors in after. So, say you want to give it a background. Okay. Actually, the Flipbook, don't be afraid of it. It can be so simple. I'm sure a lot of you have really good ideas, but maybe you feel like you can't draw it exactly yet. So start with something simple, like a heart, okay? And you can connect the background. So here, the background itself is going to be a part of the Flipbook. Pretty cool, okay? Uh-oh, trouble in paradise. Back. So I had a pretty simple idea and just went with it. I would love for you to share what you come up with. All right? So you can also title it. And of course, working in pencil is a really good idea. So let's think about my title. You know what? I'm not really even sure what I want to do yet. But this part of the video, get all these supplies together, think about your idea. I'm going to work a little bit and I will get back to you. Okay, so I've been working on my Flipbook, the one that is with the index cards 5x8. And I've chosen a character and started to set the scene. So I was playing around with the colors of black and white. I have the white background and then a black pen I like to draw with. So I decided to do a penguin. And I haven't really drawn a lot of penguins, but when I think of a penguin, they have a lot of character. They make facial expressions. So I could quickly imagine him in a story. And that's what you want to think of when you're working on your Flipbook, is if you want to do an image, how would that image change? Like, for instance, if it was a star, would it shoot? Would it grow? Would it land? With the heart, I had the heart broke and then came back together. So it provides us with something to think about. And if you chose an animal, you might want to find something that you can look at while you're drawing, because Flipbooks go from one image to the next, to the next, to the next, but they move slowly. When you're drawing them, you draw them just a little bit different and a little bit different and a little bit different, so that it looks kind of like animation. It looks like this story is connected. Okay, so you don't want to necessarily make a big leap and turn a star into a dinosaur from one page to the next. But guess what? How cool would it be if you could figure out the form of the star and the form of the dinosaur? You could even draw the dinosaur itself and the star. So the star is the first page, the dinosaur is the last page. And then think about how they would have to change in order to meet in the middle and be this shape that you can't even tell what it is. So like I said, there are tons of possibilities, and it really, like if you're doing the note one, you could change it up every single time. This one already has, you know, quite a few pages, so it's going to take me a while, but just wanted to show you how I approach beginning. So it's not going to be absolutely perfect because I'm still practicing my drawing, but here's our penguin. Okay, I drew him in pencil, and I'm going to now go over with ink, thinking about how I want him to look. So they have this little white part on the back of their neck, and they have, I made a cartoonish penguin. He, you know, really doesn't have to have a lot of detail. Because what I'm trying to get across really is the story. Let's give him a little black part of the wing. And once I feel like the story has begun, I might come back and add a whole lot more. You never know. But basically, I just want this little guy to be looking. And here's his ground. Right now he's on the flat ground. There he is. Okay? Hopefully you're starting to think, well, what would happen next? Maybe you're going to do an alligator. Maybe you want to do a crawfish. Maybe you want to do a teddy bear. Okay? Here's my next one. All of a sudden, Mr. Penguin has changed slightly. He's still in the same place on the page. So the reason I started with pencil is because I have already erased it a bunch. And you can't erase with this black pen, but guess what's cool? You can just take out that index card, right? And start over. That's the cool thing. If you like to draw with pen, you have that option of just taking out the index card and starting over. Okay, so here we go. So he went from standing there to looking up. What do you think is going to happen next? So once again, I would say work on your drawing with a pencil. This one was a little bit harder because I don't really know much about penguins. If you're going to do cartooning, you would like really research the animal to get their movement and mannerisms. And once again, I just wanted to start but show you. I'm not going to take too much time. It's more about you creating what you want to make. And if you feel like sharing what you do, please do. So I'd probably add some more color eventually, make his wings black. Okay, but we'll do more of that later. Let me get the eye in there. What do you think he's thinking? Also, if you want to think of ideas, it's good to go on a journey. Meaning, in your story, where could you take your character? Okay? Where does he want to go? Oh, look at that! That hill just got a lot steeper. So Mr. Penguin wants to go, he's curious about something. He wants to go up this big steep hill. So, can penguins fly? All right, he's working hard, working on his journey. Okay, once again, I would give him color in where it needs to be. Black and white. Give him a lot more. Oh, look at that guy struggling. Could come back in here and just mess around with different things. Okay, so you're gonna work from now on, stopping and starting the video if you need to. Come up with your thing, and please share it with us. You can share it on Wonderland's Instagram page or the Wonderland Performing Arts Facebook group. And I'd love to see what you're working on. Don't forget about the background. Maybe the foreground stays white. The foreground is this part here, while the background is colored. So it could be simple in that way. But ask yourself, are you telling a story? Okay? It's art, but because it's in a flip book, all of a sudden you're telling a story. What story do you want to tell right now? Okay. All right. Mr. Penguin. All right, here's the first 4 pages. See how he's going on a journey in just 4 pages? Got a lot more to go. All right, thank you so much for joining me at Wonder Crafts this week, and we have a lot more to come. We've got a lot more projects to do, and I'm always thinking up fun things. So if you want to suggest a project, or if there's something you're really curious about, you can write to Wonderland Performing Arts on Instagram. Also, I'm at the Roving Knitter if you wanted to send me a message on Instagram. And we will work on more things next week. Please show me what you're working on too with your flipbook. I'd love to see what you come up with. All right, thank you so much. Until next time.